Time once again for the Kaufman Corner podcast with you as always. David Lesky, Soren Petro with you. We have much we want to get to here on an episode that I'll just tell you up front. We had to record. It's my schedule, my fault, my problem. Sunday morning, we come to you 9 o'clock, usually live on a Sunday, 9 p. Central. If you're catching us via the podcast, you can be a part of the conversation in the chat room, where I'm sure we have a number of our wonderful listeners lined up and commenting about the Kansas City Royals. You can be a part of that as well. Today we're talking about unfortunately a lot of negativity here. Vinny's hurt, the Hammett bone, never like to hear that. Jack Caglione, is he going to first base? Looks like that's where the moves are taking them. Cole Ragans has discomfort. Kris Bubic's shoulder is now hurting. Seth Lugo is on the concussion protocol. I mean, what else could happen? How about your center fielder goes down with plantar fasciitis? That's the case with Kyle Isbel. We'll talk about Meisner coming in to replace him. There is some good news in the minor leagues, though, at least as we look towards the future. Bullpen's falling apart again. Luinder Avila couldn't get through his start. How about it? We talk about it right now on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by David Lesky and Soren Petro. David Lesky is an accomplished author and the publisher of the Inside the Crown Royals baseball newsletter. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are your hosts, David Lesky and Soren Petro.
Appreciate it, Curtis. Thank you very much. Doom and gloom. We'll see what happens with this third game. Of course, if you're catching this, you've seen the third game against the Astros. David and I, recording here early on Sunday morning, have not yet seen it. So you can add that to the equation. Hopefully they get a win. David, just real quick on the way they're playing baseball here before we start diving in to the injury list and what it means for the Royals moving forward. You know, we said on Friday on the program, you and I were talking on Thursday about how the disappointment was starting to build. On Friday with Danny Clinkscale, Danny said, you know, he hadn't called the season. I called the season when they were swept by the Red Sox. He said, tonight's game against the Astros is a must-win. He said, I said, because for me, I felt like unless you sweep the Astros and go 4-2 at home, all the momentum you had coming up to this is now dead, right? Yep. And so, you know, not only did they not get the win, they buried themselves by giving up 9 in the first. I mean, did that feel like, now they did fight. They got 5 in the bottom of the first on Friday. Got it all the way down to 1 run, I think, before the attack on. You know, did that feel like that was the end? I mean, like if I was wrong that it was done earlier, is there any way you come back from that now?
Yeah, I mean, no, it didn't feel like that to me because I thought it was over before that. So like you, so it's hard to say that for sure, but if we were wrong, and I think we both had kind of the same time, because I was actually the day before the sweep against Boston.
Okay.
And you were the when they got swept. But if we were wrong, yeah. I mean, that's a time when you did lose 2 of 3 to Texas, but you know, I think even winning 2 of 3 against the Astros, yeah, you'd rather have 4-2, but 3-3 at least treads water for a few days. You start to fight the clock and the schedule. At some point, we're not quite to that point,
right? If
they were 10 games under, 8 games under, but they're 15 under as we're recording right now. I don't know if that's the moment, but it certainly it all contributes. It's like any game you lose. Like you can say, oh well, Lucas Erceg blew the save, he lost the game. Well, they also lost it when they didn't score in the third, and they also lost it when they dropped a fly ball in the 6th, and they all, you know, it all contributes, but that might have been the nail in the coffin if the nail wasn't already in the coffin.
I'll give you another reason why it's done. If you're trying to make excuses, right now the only team in baseball worse than you is the Colorado Rockies. You have the worst record in the American League, and I've said, like, listen, I know that the wild card is playing down and the American League is having its struggles. Although I will point out that the wild card is now 500. Okay, so it does look like some of the teams up towards the top are maybe getting their act together. But coming into today, again, we remind you we had a tape early today, 35-35 for the A's coming in. It speaks to the whole idea of, well, the reason they're kind of alive is 81-81 might get you there, or 82-80, or 83-79. And when now the A's at 35-35 are holding that last wild card spot, when now the White Sox run differential is growing with their record, they're at +10, which isn't great, but it's and they've been without Murakami, their best hitter, and they're still not falling off. It's looking like it's not going to be a great year where you got to be in the 90s to get to the wild card, but it's playing away from you. That the wild card is moving away from you while you're moving down. And now the injuries start to stack up. So I don't know where the mindset, like I know JJ Piccolo last week said, well, no, we're not thinking about the deadline. Well, it's time. It's time, or it's negligence, period. Mm-hmm. And to a degree, I know he's not focused on I think probably a better way or an honest way to say is he wasn't focused on the deadline. He's always thinking about it.
Well,
so I'm sure
real quick, the schedule in baseball has made that very difficult. We talk about it every year now since they moved the draft. Teams don't trade until the draft for the most part. And it's look, I don't fully understand why they can't have two focuses. I understand how important the draft is, but that's also a specific team of people working on that. So I don't fully get it, but everybody I talk to says the same thing. I'm sure you do too, that it's the draft takes up all our time. We don't have the bandwidth to focus on the deadline and the draft right now. And they're all mad that it got moved to July instead of, it would have been pretty much, I think, over by now in previous years. So I do think that does play a role of, hey, we're not thinking about the deadline. Well, it's not because we're not bad. It's because we're thinking about the draft. But yeah, this team, I think I wrote it 3 weeks ago. Their priorities are shifting or have shifted, which means getting playing time for young guys and selling. And we'll get to this, but who are they going to sell now? Everybody's hurt. I don't. They're in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's it. Vinnie Pasquantino now hurt. Vinnie Pasquantino, Cole Ragans, Kris Bubic, Seth Lugo, Kyle Isbel, all going on the shelf along with what they've already been dealing with. So let's start with Vinnie. It's officially over, right? Like if the hamate bone, if he's going to need surgery, then that's what, I don't know, that's weeks and weeks. That takes us past the trade deadline on when he would be back.
Or close to it.
Yeah. But I think everybody, but he's not a trade chip at that point, because not that he was going to be already, but just speaking to where they sit is that robs you of your power. So like he already wasn't productive, and now he's, and maybe this is why he wasn't productive. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe details have come out since we taped early on Sunday morning, but that's where, even if you were like, we're not giving up the fight, we're only 7.5 out in the wild card, I don't care. You're giving it up now because there's no path back without Vinnie hitting.
Well, yeah, and as we're sitting here recording, they just made a move.
Okay.
John Rave is called up,
which we were going to talk about because that was he had been pulled from the game. You caught that, and we're going to say that.
We'll get to that. I was while you were talking, I was like, I'm going to refresh real quick. Yep, it was done. At least it's reflected on the Royals roster page, but it's frustrating too because he started to hit. He sat Game 3 of that Red Sox series that we both thought ended the season. And he was really struggling. And after the day off, and then they had another day off the next day, 291, 378, 405. No, the power wasn't there. And yes, maybe the hamate was a problem. Maybe he was feeling it. Maybe he didn't realize he was feeling it. Some of these things, guys have aches and pains all season long, and they play through them. And Maybe he thought it was, oh, my thumb is just sore from the fracture from 2 years ago. Whatever, I don't know. But that's a 115 weighted runs created plus. It's not great. It's good though. He'd been good now since May 22nd, and now he's out for. I mean, I was doing some quick Googling, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, somewhere in that range.
By the way, just as a sidebar, I have a fantasy team full of Hammett bones. Between my American League and National League, I have
the whole league.
Curio, I have the Orioles young kid who was the one.
Holiday.
Jackson Holiday. I mean, I have like every Hammett bone injury known to man on my roster. And so, yeah, it's like everybody and their brother has the Hammett bone injury this year.
Hold on. Is Vinny on your roster?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if we should blame you.
I was looking at trading for him, though. So you can't blame me. I seriously was looking at trading for him.
Okay. So we've reached a point where you're just thinking about picking up a guy.
I was working a deal. One of the guys who's out of it. I was going to go for it in my American League because I have tons of young talent, but I'm actually not doing that well. And but I'm like, I'll flip some of this young talent, and I don't know. It's a disaster. But anyway, no one cares about my fantasy team. But Vinny being hurt, I mean, that sets your course. It's official now. And if you're going to bring up John Rave, to your point, that means Jack Caglione to first base, right?
I would assume so. I mean, if you look at the Royals roster and how they list players, I guess Caglione is an outfielder still on the roster, but I mean their options are Garcia, Lofton, Massey, Tolbert, and Witt on the infield. Well, Garcia's not playing first, Witt's not playing first, Massey's not playing first, Tolbert's not playing first. Maybe Lofton, who, by the way, is one of the worst defensive second basemen in baseball, and one of the about the fewest innings possible. It's crazy how bad he is at second base. So I suppose you could get Salvi in there, but I think they're going to play Caglione at first base far more often, because otherwise, why do you bring up an outfielder? You could bring up a Josh Rojas, or you could give Peyton Wilson an opportunity. He was hitting something like 350 in Omaha. There are guys, 337 as of to this morning. There are options that you could bring up and say you're going to play Salvi and Nick Lofton at first base, which sounds awful. But if you don't want to play Caglione there, they have some options. And bringing him an outfielder says they're going to put Jack Caglione at first base, which I'm maybe wish casting a little bit, but looking into the future, if you believe Jack Caglione is your right fielder for the next 5 years, do you jerk him around and put him at first base? I don't think so. I feel like this says that they're at least willing to talk about trading Pasquantino in the offseason.
Yeah, I me. I mean, the way we put it, I put it last week, was that they have two catchers and two first basemen playing. Mm-hmm. Like, at some point that needs to be rectified. Like, it's okay. You want to get Caglione into the lineup when you're, making a run last year and he needs to play outfield. Okay. You came through one off season and you couldn't figure out a way to open up one of the spots. Okay. Because you've been contending, because you were in the playoffs the year before, and then you finish up with a winning record. Okay, so we're going to go at it, and we didn't make it all fit, but he looked all right out there, so we're going to stay with it. Well, now you've imploded, right? And they're going to talk about injuries in the offseason, right? But let's note that as many of the injuries are piling up, they were already in the tank, right? This is not all injuries. Injuries have absolutely contributed to where it is. And if they were entirely healthy, would they be in contention? Yes, I believe they would. If Carlos Estevez was there, if they hadn't had any of the pitching injuries, yeah, I think they would be there. But do I think they would be running away with the American League Central? No, I don't. And so you've given this core 3 years, and you had a shocking playoff run and did a lot of good. And that's a great season, and no one can take it away. But it is going south, right? Yeah. That's it. So, I mean, I don't know where they could possibly have the mindset that, okay, we just got to keep this group together. And so why not start putting people in the positions that they play?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get an opportunity that you don't want to get, which is Vinnie getting hurt. But it's, the good teams will look at this as an opportunity and not as a detriment. And I've said this before, and I think I say this poorly, and so maybe it doesn't come across the right way. Even in a losing season, you can find success. It's just that success changes as it goes on, right? Like success at the start of the season, success was making the playoffs. Well, that's not going to happen. So now success is figuring out how you can make the playoffs in 2027 and 2028 and 2029, and nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants it to be an evaluation year, but you can't change reality. Reality is that they're going to have to now evaluate the rest of the season and determine what if this team will work next year, in 2 years, in 3 years, and whatever. And that's how you can find success now.
Well, if you're going to bring John Rave up, explain to me, even if you're trying to win now, does that mean Jack Caglione plays first? Or are you going to play Salvador Perez at first? And doesn't even you brought up Caglione because his bat played out of position, made you the best team now. So how could you possibly say that Perez or Lofton at first base is your best team while you keep a first baseman running around the outfield?
Yeah. And I think that the only argument for that is, like I said, if you believe that Jack Caglione is going to be playing right field, you don't mess with it. You let him continue to grow there. And because he's been, the numbers have fallen off, but I mean, we see the arm plays, he's made the range is better than we expected. I wouldn't say it's good, but if you're looking at this and saying, hey, he's going to play right field for us until he's 30, 27, whatever, I don't think you move him to first base for 3 weeks.
So what would you be saying, though, about where he's going to play?
I think it's going to be first base.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes sense. And, I think it works. And the other thing, I mentioned this a few weeks ago on the newsletter, I wanted to get another look at John Rave, a look at Cameron Meisner, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But part of it, the Royals have lost guys and then they've succeeded elsewhere. And it's not as many as people think, because obviously you only remember the successes. It's like in poker. You don't remember the time you had the bad beat. You remember the time you gave the bad beat. You remember the time you got the bad beat. Mm-hmm. But why not find out? John Rave has good plate discipline. He makes decent contact. He has some pop. He can play center field, theoretically. Why not find out? Why not give him one more shot to see in a season where it doesn't matter? Cameron Meisner, same guy. Why not find out what you have? Maybe you could have your right. Well, Meisner would be your Ryan O'Hearn. Rave would be your own guy who came through. I'm fine giving him a shot there because, again, he 43 walks and 56 strikeouts and 275 plate appearances. That plays in the big leagues. It didn't play last year, and I'm not expecting it to play, but why not find out? There's no reason not to at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree. The pitching woes continue as at least the pitching injuries continue. We'll talk about that after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Concrete season is in full swing and asphalt paving is revving up. So right now is the time to get your property on the schedule with Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Whether you need new concrete work, a parking lot repaved, crack filling, seal coating, or full asphalt installation, their experienced crews handle it all right here in Kansas City. Don't wait until the rush hits. Call today for a free bid and secure your spot before the calendar fills up. Get the process started right now at GannAsphalt.com. That's GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. All right, let's talk about the pitching woes that have come about. Let's start with Cole Ragans. Discomfort. Had discomfort, and they're now going to test. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's just like I think at this point, like the idea that, well, no, he just has a little something, and I think the bottom line is Cole Ragans has to be viewed as a luxury item and not a core piece of the team as you move forward. Correct?
I don't know how you could look at it any other way. I mean, he can't get healthy, and yeah, I see a lot of people on social media, get rid of the bum. No, it's not his. He's not trying to get hurt. I promise.
Right.
But
exactly.
It's frustrating because your team is built around this guy making, and I don't know that they were expecting the 2024 Cole Ragans 32 starts, 186 innings or whatever it was. And they were looking for 25 starts. And how many has he made? I don't even know. 11, 6. I can't. I'm not even sure the number. 8. He's made 8 starts. I don't think he's going to get to 10 at this rate. I mean, I'm not sure he's going to get to 9 if we're being honest. Like, if he can't even, you've said it before, you don't care about a bullpen amount, whatever. I mean, he got to a rehab assignment and couldn't go to a second start. I don't. It's hard to predict he's going to be on the mound. Now, I could see him come back late in the year, and I still think a bullpen role makes the most sense at this point. He clearly can't give you 200 innings or 170 innings, even, it seems like. So, maybe he helps the bullpen down the road. Not this year so much, but in the future. But you just can't count on him. Anything he gives you is gravy. Which, I mean, like the contract they signed him to isn't crazy. So it's
I'm glad you brought up the contract, because that's where I was going to go. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
like we said it at the time. I said, listen, when a player will sign this contract, like that's a lack of belief in his own ability to stay healthy, right? Yeah. You don't sign that deal if you're like, no, I'm I mean, look at what Tariq Skubal got in arbitration with 30-something million. Like, you don't sign that deal unless you're like, well, I don't really stay healthy, so I need the guaranteed money. And so to me, if a player is willing to sign that deal, you got to move him. I mean, that's.
I agreed to some extent, but let's keep in mind it was that covered ARB 1 and ARB 2, not ARB 3, which is where Skubal got the big money. And if you look, I'm going to go back to like 2025, let's say. And arbitration 2, I'll give you some of the salaries guys were signing for. This is not the best. Skubal got 10.1 million. Cole Ragans is going to get 7.6 million. I think that's a reasonable down.
You're talking about a guy who's a top 5 Cy Young guy who is signing up for, okay, I'll take the guaranteed money. I'm with you. And just the fact that you were wanting to sign a guy, like it's one of the more bizarre contracts ever. Let's be clear. Who signs somebody when you already have control, right? Is 2.4 million, or $1 million or $1.5 million, or like there's no savings. This was just like, hey, we appreciate your rehab. I mean, like I don't even know how to describe.
Well, and if you look at 4.6 million for 2025, which is what he got last year, or no, this year, sorry, which would be arbitration 1. Now he signed it after 2024, so they don't have the hindsight of last season's injury. But I'm looking at some of the guys who in 2025 ARB 1, the highest paid pitcher was 3.9 million. It is an odd contract. I think they were rewarding him for. I think it was a combination reward from the organization that says, hey, we're going to give you this money anyway. And him, but what I, to your point, I think he said, yeah, I'll take it because there's a good chance I don't earn that money if I don't take it.
I mean, listen, lots of, just the idea, well, we're going to reward you because you've been really good early on in your tenure. Like, isn't that the expectation? It's like getting a bonus for not going to jail. Like, you're not supposed to.
I've never gotten that. I've never been to jail. So.
Well, you know what I mean? It's like the whole Chris Rock, like, said the bit of, I ain't never been in jail. Well, what do you want, a cookie? Like, you're not supposed to go to jail, right? Like, well, I've been good. Well, what do you, I mean, you're supposed to be good. You're a big league pitcher. We have you on the roster. I'm fine with the contract. I am. I'm not. I just want to be clear what it says. And and this is not revisionist history. We said this at the time that this is, a statement of like, I don't believe I can be healthy. And now it's not healthy. And so that's my point is like, you have to have in your mindset when that deal gets done, okay, this guy doesn't believe it. And he feels his body. He knows what he's feeling. He knows what's going on, right? Like, if your shoulder's kind of barking at you, or your back or whatever it might be, he signed that deal. And so if the Red Sox are asking for Cole Ragans and you're needing an outfielder, make it work. To me, it's a little bit of an infection of the Dayton Moore approach that anyone who's good, we can't get rid of because they're our guy and we love him more than anybody else. And, like I said, Brady Singer's been the big trade that they've made. Brady Singer was a pain in their ass. He wouldn't throw the pitches they wanted him to throw.
Honestly, the one that gives you the most hope is Freddie Fermin, who is not a great player, but was an absolute fan favorite, and the organization absolutely adored him.
For sure.
But that's the only one. Because you're right, Brady Singer is the best player they've traded, probably. I'd have to think about it. I would think that's probably where it is.
In the Piccolo,
but also
he has to be.
Say that again.
In the Piccolo era, he has to be.
Yeah, I would think so. I just haven't thought about it, so I don't know for sure. But also, I don't think they were too upset to get rid of him either. So, like that, do you get credit for that? You absolutely do get credit for it, but I don't think it's necessarily a precursor to you're going to do more of that, because you wanted to move the guy. You wanted to get him out of your hair, basically, and now the Reds kind of want to get him out of their hair too, I think. So it's progressed to another team. But yeah, the only thing I could think of too is, I mean, if you're Cole Ragans, hey, pitchers get hurt and I've been hurt. What does Passan always say? The biggest indicator of a guy who will get hurt is a guy who has been hurt.
Right.
So maybe he was just being smart, but I also agree with you that it was probably, hey, I'm not sure I can stay healthy. Yeah.
It just, to me, I don't. It just it was a missed opportunity, and the mindset has to change in how they view things. And Kris Bubic, I have more patience with because he didn't finish the year. Cole Ragans threw a couple of starts and looked good, so I mean there was clear interest. They were pushing Bubic, and can we all say that it's clear the rest of baseball got it right? No, we're not trading.
I will say, from my understanding, they had a deal done to trade Bubic, and it got backed out on by the Angels.
Yeah.
So, and then they tried to move him after that, and from what I understand, it didn't. Just teams were not giving what the Angels were going to give, and I think that there's some positives and negatives that you can give to JJ on that. One, once you've been given an offer of $100, if somebody offers you 90, you're like, well, no, I was offered 100. I get it. But also at some point, if everybody's offering you 90, maybe the 100 was the outlier.
Yeah.
And that's not the deal you're going to get anywhere else. So you've got to take the 90. So I see both sides of that. I do. And I agree. He didn't finish the year with, they didn't see him. And now he's got the shoulder hurts again. I don't know if it's the same shoulder injury. They haven't said that yet. But he went on the IL with an elbow issue after having Tommy John, 3 years ago. And he made a rehab start, was terrible, and now his shoulder hurts again. Are we ever going to see him again? I don't know. I think this makes it more likely he's a Royal next year, though, on a minor league deal.
Yeah, on
a cheap deal.
On a 1 year prove it deal, a 1 year with incentives deal. Yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think this completely opens the door because it puts them in their price range. I honestly, like, if you look at him moving forward, let's say he does not come back this year, but the rehab happens or he comes back late or whatever. I mean, as we sit here again, we're recording. If you're catching this late via the stream before the game that's played today, and so some more news may come out, but you can't be putting real money into a complete question mark, right? So if he can't go, if he doesn't come back, like, this cannot be. I mean, does this end him as a starter?
Because
it's easier to replace a bullpen piece than it is one of your 5 starters.
It is.
I mean, could you really go into next year saying Kris Bubic is going to be one of our 5 starters? Even we agree this increases the chances that he would come back to the Royals, but could you be like, okay, yeah, he's one of our starters?
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, it's just I think that if he wants to be a starter and he goes out on the market and says, hey, whatever the deal is, I will take it to compete for a starting spot. Okay, maybe you can't count on him.
Right.
And so if I'm the Royals, I'm going, look, I'm going to give you $3 million and I'm going to give you starter incentives and reliever incentives. And you're never going to hit your starter incentives because you are going to start the first spring training game of the year and that's it. Or, whatever. I think you put him in the bullpen. And look, you want to talk about next year's bullpen, which we didn't talk about this before, but Cole Ragans and Kris Bubic in that bullpen gives it a different look. If they want to go that route, they've got to replace 2 starters, but they already have to because you can't count on either of them.
And when, not if, when they break down, it's easier to replace what they do in the bullpen.
Right.
Oh,
and I wonder. I think it's definitely more of a when with Cole Ragans. We have not seen if Kris Bubic can hold up throwing 1 inning at a time. He looked great in 24. Now it was 3 months, 2.5 months. So I think he is closer to an if than Cole Ragans, but on the win side, if you're on a scale. But yeah, you're right. It's easier to deal with that.
Yeah, and now you have a rotation that if you take those 2 guys out is Waka, Lugo, Cameron, Kolich, which you feel good about, and a question mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and they've got some guys who like John Means, but he's another guy you can't count on. They signed him. They're going to cycle 30 guys through that spot, and between now and the end of spring training next year to say who can fit in that 5 spot. But they're a little bit light right now.
Yeah, they're very light right now, to say the least. All right, let's take another quick break here. When we come back, we'll get into the fact that Luinder Avila has gone south. We'll get into the Seth Lugo concussion, Kyle Isbel, his plantar fasciitis. There is some good news coming from the minors. We'll talk about that after you hear from our friends at Italian Delight. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. Gann Asphalt and Concrete is looking to grow their team. If you have heavy construction foreman experience with heavy equipment, asphalt or concrete labor, or just want to learn a new trade, contact Gann Asphalt and Concrete to join their team today. Top of the market pay, company provided insurance, and paid time off and holiday pay are just a few of the great reasons to join Gann's expanding team. Learn more about this great opportunity with Gann at GannAsphalt.com/careers. That's GannAsphalt.com/careers. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. All right, let's discuss. Let's start with Seth Lugo here with a concussion. Scary when a guy gets a comeback or
flies into right field off his head.
Yeah, I mean, amazing that he was able to get up and walk off the field, but in the concussion protocol as he should be. But this just even further torpedoes your efforts. I mean, and by the way, the bullpen is being completely overworked right now, and there's no real solution. I mean, I just cannot stress how the baseball gods have said it's over, guys. It's not happening. Don't start risking health of other people in an effort to save this year. You have the worst record in the American League, and that should be the 10 count for any ideas of playing for this year.
If you're at the bottom of the standings with less than 100 games to go, you're done.
Yes.
You want to argue 40 games in, okay, that's fine. You have less than 100 games to go, it's over. It just is. And I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. We can lament it forever, and we will. But yeah, that Lugo thing. We'll see how fast he comes back. You know, if he gets cleared, I have no problem. I'm not worried about him being out there if he's medically cleared. But my God, that was terrifying. The welt on his head that developed immediately. I don't know that I've ever seen that. That was rough. And you know, you talked about the rotation: Waka, Lugo, Cameron, Kolek.
Well, let's throw Luinder Avila in here.
Is it Lugo? Yeah, but yeah,
as well as part of the equation here, because you know I didn't mention his name, and he has been getting the starts, and just an absolute implosion on Friday. I mean, God bless the team for showing some fight and getting 5 runs in the bottom of the first and fighting all the way back to 8. I mean, you know, they kept, you know, in the midst of the U.S. playing in the World Cup, I got together with some buddies, and we had the Royals on one of the TVs, and we were talking about it. We were still interested, and, you know, they fought back, but they didn't get there. And Avila, you know, we talked about that he'd had a couple of good 5-inning starts where he allowed 1 run, but we also talked about that there were, 7 walks in 10 innings. And that
7 walks and I think 8 strikeouts, which isn't enough either. Yeah.
Yeah. Not with 7 walks, right? Like that needs to be a high strikeout number. And he wasn't getting that. I mean, he's going to keep starting probably because somebody's got to,
and I think he should. I really do.
Well, they don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
But if we're talking 2027 spring training and Luinder Avila's name is coming up as a potential starter, can we agree that this season is not looking good?
Yeah, I mean, look, I went into him starting and saying I don't think he's a starter. So I think we should be clear. 1 start doesn't mean anything. Guys implode, guys struggle. But the fact, so whatever your opinion was before, it probably didn't change from that. Mine didn't change. I still think he's a reliever, which is ironic because he didn't get through the 1 inning that a reliever would have gotten through also. Right. But you pitch differently when you're starting. I mean, you're trying to pitch to 80 to 100 pitches versus 18 to 20 in an inning. So I know that changes much either, but yeah, I think he's a reliever. And I just think he doesn't get when he has to pace himself as a starter, when he has to pitch as a starter, I don't think the command is good enough and the swing and miss isn't there, which that I think is when he's in there for 15, 18, 20 pitches because he can air it out. And it's not a coincidence, I don't think, that some of his best innings have come toward the end of his starts when he knows he's done. Yeah. And he doesn't have to say, I gotta save this for the next inning. And so I'm fine. Get him however many more starts there is. I don't have a problem letting a guy wear out his make it abundantly clear that you can or can't do something. But yeah, I don't see it. I didn't see it when he was giving up 2 runs over 10 innings. But again, give it a shot. Let's see what happens. There's no harm in this now to do it. So it's not like you're hurting a season. This is one of those things where finding out somebody can't do something is also a positive because then you know that they can't for sure.
Yeah. And the good news is the Royals have already, learned to live with less than what they want starting wise. Like Ragans and Bubic have been hurt. And so, yeah, it's frustrating. And the injuries don't just stop at the pitching, but Kyle Isbel, plantar fasciitis, and, comes down this week. Cameron Eisner, is his first name Cameron?
Cameron, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. I was second guessing myself.
Noah Cameron Meisner. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I like that. Cameron Meisner coming in. This was not a team we've talked about that the Brian Bridges draft picks, there seem to be some bats, but they're all down in the low minors. Like this is where they couldn't take on water, right? You knew you had Kolek, as we came back, you thought maybe Bailey Falter. We know that's not the case now, but Stephen Kolek, Ryan Bergert, you felt like, and Luinder Avila in the back of your mind, you had some guys who had shown some talent that could do it, but you did not have the guys. You'd already moved on from John Rave, who's getting the call now with Vinnie going out. You didn't have anybody that, you're like, well, this guy has talent and has produced in the minors and there's some upside here. Let's see what we got. You didn't have that on the position side. And so now on top of all the injuries to your arms and a bullpen that's not producing, which we'll get to in a second here. But, when you have to turn to Cameron Meisner, I mean, I can't, again, we keep putting stacking things on top of it. If you haven't declared it over and we're now instigating the calls to teams to sell, then I don't know what you're doing, because it's when Isbel goes down, now you've lost defense on a team that already had some weaknesses defensively. And I don't know how you can be thinking anything else.
No, I mean, I wanted to get a look at Meisner because he's done enough in AAA to earn that look. You don't want it to come this way, obviously, but at the same time, he's a guy you want to get a look to, not a guy you think is part of your future. He's 28 years old, right? He's in a 28-year-old season. I'm not sure if he's 28 yet. No, he is. He turned 28 in January. So it's fine. And again, this goes back to one of those things that this is now what success looks like this season for this team, is finding out if this guy can be good or isn't or whatever. But I mean, the career numbers for Cameron Meisner, there's a reason that he took a while to debut. There's a reason that he struggled when he did debut. He got some time in Tampa last year, and he started off hot, which he started off pretty hot for the Royals, 4 hits and 9 at bats, all singles, but still you take 4 for 9. But he ended up last year hitting 213 with a 273 on base and 345 slug. And, guys develop late. We'll see. But when he's your answer, that shows that your upper levels are pretty bare.
Well, and he is already a Royal through and through. As they're rallying on Friday night, he makes the third out at third base. I don't know what he was thinking.
And it's when the ball goes to right field, you're like, all right, I get it. It was in front of him in left field as he rounded second. And to be clear, I think he may have been safe, but I understand why they didn't challenge, because you're not going to give up that challenge on a 50-50 play. But it can't be that close. If you're going to go to third, you have to be, I'm not sure 100%, but you got to be 95% you're going to get there.
Listen, I do not want to hear about being aggressive. What is one of the first things you are taught in baseball?
First and third out. Don't make it at third.
Don't make the first and third out at third base. Don't. Never. Not, unless you're being aggressive. It said no Little League coach ever. Yeah. Do not. You come around second base, you have to know you're going to be safe.
There's a difference between aggression and stupidity, and that was a stupid play.
I don't even I really don't understand why we have turned baseball into analytics. We've quantified everything, and we make our decisions based upon what the numbers are. Even if those decisions are 1 or 2% advantageous, making an out at third base is not in the margins. It's a disaster. Right. Okay? It's a disaster. It's okay if you got, if it would be the second out, that's a little bit more acceptable because you're getting yourself into sack fly scoring range, right? So there is an and I don't even know what the math would tell you is how much more important, how many more times, it definitely scores more, but how many more times you score from third with less than 2 outs versus scoring from second. But I mean, there's some simple ones a walk comes around to score 50% of the time. Rule of thumb, I can't remember if it's 49 or 51, but it's roughly right there. But you walk the leadoff guy 50% of the time it scores. So don't do it. Okay. There's no don't do it unless you're being aggressive. Said no one, right? There's certain things you just can't do. And this is clearly when a minor leaguer comes up and does this, it would be easy. And if this were a team that was a really good base runner, you'd be like, this guy's trying to impress. He's trying to prove that he can do things. He's wanting to make his mark on the team. Okay. But when your frontline guys do these stupid things all the time, and now your minor league guys do it, it says it's an organizational problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and look, you're going to make an out on the bases. The team that has the fewest has 10. So it's going to happen throughout the season. But when it happens this often, and last year, we talked about this in the offseason, the Royals were toward the bottom of outs on the bases. People were shocked by that. Part of it's because they were so slow, but they were. This year, they have 25 outs on the base, which is third most. Now, interestingly enough, you'll be shocked to know the team right behind them is the Guardians, because they seem to play clean, good baseball. Tigers are right behind them, no surprise. Twins, no surprise. Red Sox, no surprise. Pirates, no surprise. I mean, the Rays are up there, so outs are going to be made, but there's just too many of them. And again, it's the situation too. Like I said, if you hit a ball to right field and Meisner's going to third and they make a perfect throw, I'm a lot more understanding of that than a ball hits a left field in front of him that he ends up just getting gunned down on it. It wasn't even a great throw. It didn't require a great throw to get him. There are layers of that too. And this was arguably the worst player base running decision I've seen this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
because it was all him. And let's be clear. I want to be clear. Vance Wilson's had issues. That was all him. I went back and watched. He did not pick up third base. He was looking at the ball and just went.
Yeah. But Isbel is down. That's what instigates this. And so, Isbel, who's not getting any younger, by the way, and his defense should be starting to fade off. And he's
cheap.
What's that?
Or cheaper, which
yes, absolutely. Yeah, and this is where the Royals off season, the priority has to be to get a real center fielder. One that can hit and play defense. Because you add this injury, I'm not saying he won't come back from it, but this is how you start getting old. The body starts to break down, and even when you come back and you feel good, he's probably lost a tick on the first step. You would
assume, yeah,
that's an issue, and
he'll be 30 next year. He'll be 30 on March 3rd.
Yeah, so it's an issue for sure. All right, let's talk a little bit about the bullpen. Let's talk about the minors. Do we want to end on the good or the bad note?
Your dealer's choice.
Okay, let's go. Let's go with the bullpen.
Okay.
Because the bullpen right now is like what I think is going on at the Lesky house.
Can you hear that? Okay.
There's frustration. There's a little one who is not happy.
She really wants to give Dad a hug.
Yeah. Well, let her give a hug real quick. That'd be great.
All right.
If she can.
Well, let her in.
Oh,
you can let her in.
Let her. Yes. We
can all say hi.
Yeah. See.
Come here.
Look. Oh.
Hi.
See. Hello.
See. This is better than the Royals bullpen.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
I gotta finish this podcast now. Okay. Go to mommy.
Yeah.
I know. I love you so much. You want to sit with me?
Mommy's car.
Yeah, that's like mommy's car.
Yeah.
There's an ad for a Hyundai that my wife drives that is on the screen next to me.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes, I will tell you that our normal mode of operation is that Daddy gets hugs before we start. When we're normally we're recording today, I said it a number of times. So we're in the morning. So we've upset her normal.
She gets hugs before bed and all that. And so So here we are. All right, we have a new start of the podcast.
yeah, exactly. So she makes her debut on the Kaufman Corner. So
she'll be co-hosting in a couple weeks.
That's right. We look forward to that. But the bullpen, as we mentioned, it is falling apart. Right. It had its issues. Strom not being able to get anybody out is a big problem. And
oh my God, yes.
I think it's like the 10 count now on the bullpen as well. So I mean,
it's one of those things that there's no answer for it. Like to be able to be unable to count on the guy who you thought would be your number 3, I guess, in the bullpen especially when your number 1 and your number 2 are hurt and terrible. Like it's brutal. And
you get 4. Hey, Mama.
How about
you can't control.
Yeah.
You can't control a 3-year-old.
You cannot. You need to. We schedule things around. You need to focus on the family.
No, it's all right. She can leave. We can finish this.
Right, come here, girl.
Yeah.
Here. My apologies.
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
It's life. It's life
Yeah.
with a toddler.
Yeah. There it is. The real world.
And she
Now,
wants to
you
go to the
go
birthday
focus
party
with the
we're
game.
going to.
We'll wrap up with the
All right.
bullpen is a problem, and
Yes.
it will be an issue, and it's just another reason why they're gonna have problems. David,
Yeah.
Always great talking to you, buddy. I turned up your schedule upside down, so this is on me.
No.
I apologize. Apologize to the family, and of course, we'll talk about it. There is the good stuff that's coming from the minor leagues. We'll talk about that. Remember, you can always support the Kaufman Corner podcast by supporting our great sponsors: Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Their schedule is booking up, so if you need help with your parking lot, they've been solving parking lot problems for more than 30 years. Go to GannAsphalt.com and our friends at Italian Delight, the first to bring true New York style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. It's Italian Delight lunch specials, daily lunch specials starting at under $10. Go to Kansas, just a few minutes east, I should say, of Kansas Speedway, 8145 State Ave. Go online to ItalianDelightKS.com. For David Lesky and the entire Lesky family, I'm saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Kaufman Corner podcast.